Welcome to the Chronically Healthy Life show. When you hear the word chronically, do you automatically associate it with chronic disease? We all do. It's been programmed right into us. But what if we flip the whole idea on its head? Let's discover how we can create chronic health in our bodies, our minds, our finances, our relationships, and of course, in our lives. Welcome to the place where chronically means healthy, wealthy, joyful, and ridiculously alive. Let's flip the whole script together. Today, I am joined by two ladies who are my ride or die, my best friends, as we are recording this episode. That we have so many darn gremlins today.
Well, Andy, that thank you. We are ride or die. Woo! so, so for our audience, we were talking about amongst ourselves about all these negative things that pound us daily through the news, through the social media, through whatever, through people just chit-chatting in the grocery store. And it's negative and it's disempowering, Oh, for example, one of my pet peeves is climate change, which is such a big lie that it's almost makes you sick because climate change is directly connected to the chemtrails because that's when it all started. So just stop chemtrailing, folks, and it'll all fix itself. But what we were talking about is how disempowering this language is that comes at us. Climate change indicates that it's something that's completely out of our control. The earth is somehow turning against us, which, if you really stop for a second and think about it, that's just dumb. The earth has been sustaining life for tens of thousands of years, and it's not going to turn against us. It's being done to us. So, what we thought we would do today is kind of get into that miasma and start talking about the ways that we can shift things right now, today, in our own lives. And like Confucius said, we start with ourselves and it ripples to our family and then it ripples to our outside our homes to our neighborhoods and then ripples out to the community and ripple 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 in a positive uplifting way that really, and I have to say I'm seeing this more and more and more. More and more people are awakening and going, we're not going to believe what they say anymore because all they do is lie and they've told us all these lies and they created all these problems, and that's a great thing. So but it still helps us to talk about physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically, what we can do spiritually, what we can do that creates those ripples and also uplifts. It starts with ourselves. We uplift ourselves, we uplift everyone around us. So, Amanda, um, you were talking about having seen some really astounding things in your energy work. Can you share some of that with us?
Well, I think that first we acknowledge ourselves as being an energetic being in our human experience here, and the energy that we're around affects us. And that includes our own energy that we generate, the thoughts, the things that we say, that we expose ourselves, the things that we say to ourselves. You say, nobody likes me, everybody hates me, I'll go eat worms. You're going to have an icky day. You get out of bed and you drop something. You're, oh, everything I touch today is going to turn to crap. And you're going to have a crap day. But when you get up and you say, oh, I'm so thankful I got dogs to clean up this mess I made, and you don't, I am very thankful. I got three puppers. You bet. I don't know how people live without critters to help with that factor. Um, it's not completely true. But anyway, it's it's the idea of how you present yourself, what you set yourself up for. Yes, there are a lot of influences there, and you can read about the Schumann resonance. You can read about time, parallel times, and time jumping, and all of those things going on. And where you focus your energy is where you're going to go. If you are looking for the negative when you come home in the day to say, oh, I bet so and so didn't do such and such. Well, it may not be that, but you're going to keep looking until you find something negative. Instead of walking through the door going, oh, great, what we got done today? And you're looking for the good things, you're going to find the good things, even if it's not as grand as you want it to be for the good things. So finding those, but just looking at what are you looking for, and that's what you're going to find.
Mhm. Yeah. That, you know what, you're right about the critter. Cats and dogs are great at just being in the moment, and the love that's why we love them so much, because even if you did go out and have a really crap day, you come home and your dog is like, oh, or your cat is walking on you and going purring in your ear.
Well, and I think, that's kind of that energy too. We never anticipate that our animals will be angry with us because they don't have that ability, that they're just happy to be and to be a part of our lives and to be fed, you know? And I think that we get so caught up in, when I say I'm sorry to you or to Andy, I'm assuming that you guys are angry. I'm saying I'm sorry. And you guys may never have thought anything about me being 30 seconds late or whatever. And so be aware, be mindful of the things that you're saying. And, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all is very, very applicable.
Hmm.
And especially with so many things going on in the world, there's so many things that you could chime in on, either in person or keyboard warrioring. Does it make a difference at the end of the day? Did it make a difference in your day? Did it make your life better?
Hmm.
If it did, whole hog, go for it. But if it didn't change it, if it didn't make things better and more positive or better for another person, it's not yours. Leave it alone.
Mm. Ooh.
I love that, Amanda. I think what you said in the very beginning is so true. We're so distracted with everything going on. And once you go down that rabbit hole of negativity, you just absorb more of it, right? It's one of the things that I learned way back is the way your mind works. You know, whatever you think about, regardless if it's true or not, you can bring about, right? So if you're looking more negative energy, even though you think you don't need it, but you're just looking at your feed, you're concentrating around people with it, you're just absorbing more of that negative energy. And like Christy said in the very beginning, when it comes down to health, there's so much into it. There's spiritual energy, there's emotions, there's what we feed, our environment, and it all affects our health, right? And the negative or positive energy is so important, and that's why, like I said in the very beginning, these are my ride or die friends, and they always uplift me. Like today, I was on energy low. I've been just swamped with work, and sometimes it's when I tap into these two ladies, it's almost like it's those marionette dolls. I got these strings that pull me up, and it just feels amazing. And that's what I think a lot of people need to be a little bit more aware of. Be like Amanda says, be aware of your energy. Be aware of how people make you feel. Be aware of those people that are following. Like a lot of people are following TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and for me, I'm always following these health challenges and stuff. So it makes me a better person, right? It's like challenge me to do something hard, challenge me. But if you're following stuff that's about talking about politics or talking about the war, guess what? Now you're just going to be in that negative funk, even though you don't believe in it. It still draws you in, right? So I think that negativity is a big part, and one of the things that I have found in this last 6 months to a year is how you feel, like your emotions. There's a lot of research depending on where your emotions are, what emotions you are, affects different parts of your organs, right? And that's something that I've been really looking into energetically and studying more of. That's sort of going into the woo woo space, what I would have called 5, 10 years ago. But nowadays, it's like this has always been proven true in so many cultures, in Chinese medicine, in Indian cultures, in the chakras, right?
Well, even
Reiki,
if
right?
you're talking about how far back so much of this goes,
Exactly.
when we look at those energetics were all we knew. We
Hmm.
knew the body cycle, we knew those things. So Eastern medicine is how much older than Western medicine?
Yes.
Eastern medicine is still in practice.
Hmm.
I mean, Western medicine is too, but we're bringing that bridge and finding out. And having had my interest and having been an active part of Western medicine, and doing homeopathy and doing a
Hmm.
lot of the other practices that I do, it comes down to, what are you working on? Where do you want to go?
Hmm.
Do you want that quick pill, that prescription, that medication, or do you want an answer to what you're doing, to understand it so that you can stop the body's process? And
Hmm.
when we go back to all the theology and all of that, and you follow where Western medicine originated, you find some stuff that's pretty good nuggets.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of it comes down to time. How much
Correct.
time are you willing to invest in yourself doing something? I remember at the doctor's office, we had one nurse, and she goes, everybody just wants instant mashed potatoes, kind of like the microwave food. They
Hmm.
just want a quick fix. And the
Hmm.
reality is, bodies didn't get here overnight.
Right.
They're not going to get better overnight. And I am an absolute firm believer that disease, disruptions in that energetic flow of the body causes disease.
Hmm.
Um, and it shows time and time again. And yes, do your due
Hmm.
diligence, look for your research. The more research you do in any given area, be Western medicine, Eastern medicine, homeopathy, wherever you go, the more of it you're going to see because of the algorithms. But what works with your own unique body? What works for Andy probably isn't going to work for me. And I doubt the same thing is going to work for Christy also.
Correct.
We're all going to have to put our own spin on it, and giving yourself that permission to find what works for you in your best interest, in your immediate circle, in
Hmm.
your own body, in your household, in your neighborhood, in your community.
Yeah.
And then that ripple keeps going. We don't want big waves. I don't make waves, just
No
those nice subtle ripples.
ripples, not tsunamis. Andy and I have talked a lot about this because I'm a swimmer and Andy is not. And Andy makes it very clear. He is
Very clear.
so, but for me, going swimming is my favorite exercise. I'll stay in the pool for 2 hours and be perfectly content and swim, swim, and swim. Whereas for Andy, that would be an ordeal
Hmm.
that he would hate and would be miserable. So flip flop that with something like, well, I don't know if Andy, if you run, but I hate running. I hate it. I will walk. I love walking. I hate running, and running hurts my body, and I don't
Correct.
like it, and I can't sustain it. So what you said is true. You have to find what works for you, and let it be okay that your next door neighbor who runs marathons isn't you.
Hmm.
If you
I always
all
ask them to take a few steps for me. I will cheer them on that 5K, and I'll say, take 4 steps for me, okay? You're young, take 10 for me, all right? Yeah. Um, you know, if it doesn't work, and
and don't,
that's the other thing too, as we talk about these different modalities, we talk about Western medicine seems more symptom driven and wanting, or it seems more diagnosis driven,
Hmm.
where so many of the other things are, what are your symptoms? I don't, when I work with clients on homeopathy, I don't need your diagnostics. I don't need what your diagnosis is. What I need is, what are your symptoms?
Hmm.
Because your symptoms are speaking as to what it is. Just because someone has stamped something on your forehead doesn't mean that's what's going on.
right,
That's what was going on in that moment.
right.
So,
Well, this is really good, and I have a question for you both when we come back after this quick message. So everybody, stay tuned.
Why do 98% of beauty enthusiasts rave about coolness? It's all in the blend of ancient wisdom and modern science. Introducing Coolness, Pearlescent Face and Eye Serum Cream. This powerhouse combines the antioxidative power of schisandra berries, the glow of pearl powder, and the hydrating wonders of dragon's blood extract. It's like a time machine for your skin, making it radiant, firm, and oh so smooth. Inspired by ancient Chinese traditions and backed by modern nutritional science, this serum cream is perfect for dry, mature, and aging skin. It's time to unlock your inner glow with Coolness. Treat your skin to the best of both worlds today.
Andy, Amanda, and I are here to talk about ways we can improve our lives right now in simple ways. So, Amanda, you had mentioned that with homeopathy, the symptoms are the thing that clue you in. And then as the symptoms change, you change the homeopathic medicine. It changes sometimes from hour to hour. I've done it before.
It changes very, very much. Yeah.
Yes. And Andy, your physical personal training you do with people, I'm quite sure that you see as people start here and they evolve, you have to adjust what you're doing with them as well, because as we heal. So my question is, when we, in all these ways, energetically, physically, emotionally, as we grow, do you feel it's important to look back and give yourself credit, or is it better to stay present and keep moving forward, or is there power in both of those, or balance? What do you think?
I'll go first. I'll go first
Oh, shucks. Okay.
because I know I wouldn't be able to fall after what you say, Amanda. So I'm not giving you that opportunity. I think it is important to celebrate your successes, right? Because one of the things I always tell people, and this probably relate to you, Christy, is growing up, going through school. I don't know how school is nowadays, but your report card's a big deal, right? You know what I'm saying? And for me, as growing up as Asians, the number of A's you get equals the dollar amount you get, right? So of course we want more A's. B's you get a little bit, C you get nothing, right? So more A's you get, the more money you're making, right? But it's sort of to me that's how I look at health too. It's like you almost have to track your metrics, and if you're not tracking, you don't know if you're moving forward or moving backwards, right? So to me that's very important. And when you are moving forward, it is time to celebrate, because I think so many people has been just sort of it's almost like those oscilloscopes at the hospital when they hook you up and beep, you're alive, right? And beep, you're dead, right? I swear most people are dead, right? They're just this damn flat line, and they're just happy, just chugging away the way it is. But what they don't understand is that flat line is actually flat going downwards, right? All they're doing is because their posture, their health, they're just tilting their head. It is still a straight line, but it's going downwards, right? We want it to be going upwards, right? And of course, there's going to be ups and downs, right? You're always going to, have your peaks that you do really well, and then something happens, a life event, you get sick, your best friend calls you an ass hat. Well, then you're going to drop down, right? But I think it's sort of like what Amanda says in the very beginning is like you can't take things too seriously. Like in my first 30, 40 years of life, I was very serious. If someone said something to me, like I took it personally, right? If my friend says, "Oh, you're an ass hat," or "Why did you do that?" Or, I would hate them for the next 3 to 5 years. Now, in the last 5 years, if someone says, "Andy, you're crazy. You're an idiot," thank you for that input, unfriend. You know that. Because the reality of it now that we're getting older is no one's thinking about you. So who gives a shit? I hope I don't get banned for saying that, but who cares what people are saying? Because what's really important is your own health, right? And that may sound selfish, but a lot of us have to take care of family. right? You know, sometimes it could be fur babies, you know, or parents, grandparents, whatever it may be. Sometimes you may have to be taking care of her kids if her kids have bad health. And guess what? You cannot take care of anyone until you take care of yourself.
Mhm.
Right. And I think that's where most people don't realize that is their energy is just being driven down so badly and pulling down so much by all the negativity, regardless if it's coming from bad mouthing, the news, the media, the bad air, the bad water, or just your kid saying, "Daddy, you know, why aren't you buying me the new iPhone?" And now you feel bad you can't afford it. It's like they're lucky to have a phone at all. I never had a phone until I was 22, you know. So, you know, just don't take life so seriously. But I honestly think that it is important to celebrate, you know, your successes so you know where things are going.
Yeah, definitely. Well, healing, we all know healing, you want healing to, on a graph, be going this way, but it doesn't. It goes like this.
Exactly.
But as long as it's the
Yeah,
dots,
as long as you're it's
yeah, as
slightly
long
moving.
as you can draw a line through those
Yeah,
dots, it's heading in that direction.
exactly.
I was saying that to my mom the other day because she's had a little setback
Hmm.
and she's been doing really well.
Love
And
it.
she just started beating herself up. And I'm like,
Hmm.
wait a minute, pause.
Hmm.
Because it was a down day, no big deal. And then today she was better again today. So that's a really important point. We have to just relax and stop being so hard on ourselves. And I don't know where that I'm not quite sure where all this pressure comes from. But again, these external sources trying to convince us that we're powerless,
Hmm.
that we're no control, that we're at the mercy, and then politicians just drive me crazy because every one of them is a lying piece of crap, and they're not doing anything to actually make things better. They're just trying to keep people doing this.
Correct.
And so, we want climate change to go away. Stop chemtrailing. We
Yes.
want we want prices to come down. Stop distracting everybody from what you're doing with fake wars
Hmm.
going into countries that leave them alone. They don't want you there, etc. And also turn off the TV.
Yes.
Turn it off. I mean, my life, there was a period in my life where I couldn't even imagine living without the TV on in the background. And now it's like, if it's on, I find these really cool, like water, rain, water trickling, birds, insects, and I put that on with no ads.
Well, and I think that is important to look at what you're subjecting yourself to. And I remember I used to watch the news. Every morning I would get up, I would turn the TV on, I would make the coffee, get the kids ready for school, and I would listen to the news.
Hmm.
And my life improved like 40% or more just by not consuming the news every day. And this was, gosh, the kids were still in school. So
Hmm.
this has been several years ago that I stopped. I mean, I got cable TV disconnected. I mean,
Hmm.
it's like no. And to this day, I allow myself. I have one local news station app. I will scroll the headlines if it's interesting and if it was written by my local station,
Hmm.
I might read it, you know, because I don't have power in those. But I do have power in my household, in my community, and I can make a difference here. So that's where I'm going to put my energy and my efforts. I don't have the energy to be angry at all that's going on. And the question was, do we count our changes? Do
Hmm.
we keep track of our goals and everything? And I used to kind of laugh at goals, and I'm not really good at setting goals. I'm amazing at setting intentions.
Hmm.
Yes.
Um, but I think that, it is important that we look at where we were. And I saw a meme a few years back that was like burying the old version of yourself. That's going a little too far, I think. In my
Hmm.
opinion, you need to remember the older version of you, the person you were before you grew and you made changes, because you are where you are because you've been through those
Mm-hmm.
things, because you were that old version. You can now respect the new version. But you also have the choice of how much of that you take with you. We talk about the your past as being the rear view mirror of your car. You can look back at it, but you have this whole windshield in front of you that is your life in front of you. And it's so important to keep looking forward, because as you look back, you're carrying all this weight. It's invisible. No one else can see it. You're the only one that's carrying it, and it weighs you down. And
Correct.
so when you choose to carry all of this, you're just creating so much more work for yourself. So that's, yes, we need to remember how far we've come. Most of us don't remember when we didn't know that 2 plus 2 was 4. We don't remember not being able to walk, not being able to read. We don't remember those things. And all those little teeny tiny things do make up who we are and what we
Mm-hmm.
have. So it's not because, especially when times are tight, you need to remember where there was a time that you didn't have a car.
Mm-hmm.
There is a time you did not have those things. We're going to dwell on them, but we're going to keep pushing forward and giving ourselves credit for how far we have actually come. That's so important, I think.
Yes, I totally love that. And I love the setting intentions rather than goals. Although perhaps there are a few things that a goal is an important thing, but an intentions are more important, because that inner motivation is the thing that keeps you going. A goal doesn't keep you going,
Mm-hmm.
but that inner sense of moving forward, because it's an intention that you've created that you really want, or I don't, we need a better word than that, but
Yeah, well, and there's the whole three, the three columns, and having those really big, audacious things, so that as your brain, the brain needs something bigger to focus on, because
Mm-hmm.
then the more mundane things are easier to do when your brain is working towards the really big things. So goals are important, but I just sometimes I think we need to just drop back and remember where we really are and what we're really capable of doing in the minute,
yes,
and what we're allowing to influence us. It is a choice.
it
You
is.
do not have to answer the door. Well, certain circumstances like search warrants and things, not that I've ever experienced anything like that, but you know, basically there's a lot of things that you can choose. You can choose to answer your phone. You can choose to return a call. You can choose to reply to a message. You probably can't choose about going to work or who you have to work with. There's some things you can't. So where there are places that you can make choices and you can be more in control and more intentional, don't miss that opportunity.
Well, you could choose where you work. I mean, if you are real miserable where you are, there's nothing stopping you from starting your business or looking for another job or actively setting the intent that you're going to do something better.
Mhm.
And maybe you're still there while you're doing that, but you're moving, you're still moving.
You're still moving, and you're still, and as you you do that manifestation piece of visualizing yourself at a better job, visualizing yourself with pleasant people.
Mhm.
When the kids were young and they would have trouble with a teacher, I would say pick out something and you can count how many times they did this or that, so you don't dwell on the negative
Mm-hmm.
part of the lecture or the things that bother you.
Yeah.
Which then gets us into that whole spiritual part of that spiritual growth and healing of the things that annoy you and other people are the things you need to work on in yourself.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. The world is our mirror.
Oh, we got that would be a whole show.
Oh yeah, or
And
two.
you shared your story about when you were in the terrible car accident. Andy's terrible car accident was he should have died, and him walking away from that accident is freaking miracle. And but how damaged you were and crippled up like an 80-year-old crippled up person, and making that choice to make changes. You're living proof that it doesn't matter if it's physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual. A lot of people are locked into, oh, my body is sick and I can't change that. Yes, you can. maybe the change is stop listening to the doctor who's not helping you and find someone who does help you. I want to come back to you, Andy, but I have a story because I've been going through this with my mom. She had a skin cancer right on the top of her head. She's had 2 Mohs surgeries. It still keeps coming back. And I am fed up. And so I took her to the derm this last week, and they're like, oh, we think it's a bacterial infection. I'm like, so you're guessing again for after, what, 2 years now, and you still haven't figured this out. And so I dumped them. And I refused to put her on the medication that they wanted her on because A, she's allergic to it, or possibly might be, I'm going to err on the side of caution because she's allergic to everything. And we're doing colloidal silver. I got a real high powered one that you dilute in water, and I soak a gauze in it and put it on her head. 2 days, it's completely cleared up.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, so these doctors, it's not that they're bad or they have bad intentions. It's that they don't know any better because they've been trained by pharmaceutical companies who have a vested interest in keeping people sick and not actually, I'm getting on my high horse again, not actually curing anything, which we all know. So you find something that works, and that may not be what works for someone else like we talked about, but it's working for her. And Annie, what was it that worked for you when you made the choice to start recovering your body?
Well, I think, it really starts, back where, Amanda was talking about, like, you always have choices. And, you're talking about, you just change your choice, from seeing another doctor or looking at different alternatives. And I think when it comes to living a chronically healthy life, people need to own their own shit. Like you everything that's happened to you is your fault, regardless if you like it or not, right? Like, my car accident, I drove that certain route, and I get hit going through an intersection. I could have taken another route, right? But I hated and blamed the person that hit me for the last 20 years, right? Because of course, I was unconscious and in the court side of him, so I didn't win anything. But the point is like he put me in so much pain. But then now, with all this personal development and everything that we learn, and all coaches and stuff, is like, well, it was really my fault to be there in the first place, right? And then knowing what we know about emotions, like I said earlier today, is like that hate probably slowed down my, my healing. And of course, I chose to stay with those doctors or therapists that said, this is what you need. This is how it's going to get worse. They told me I'm going to have an ailing 70, 80-year-old body by the time I hit 30 when I was 21. And well, guess what? I believed it because everything they said, I totally believed it. I took it line and sinker, right? And once again, nothing against the medical system. Like if they weren't there, I'll be dead. Like I would not have survived that accident. They put me back together. But, I think like what Amanda says is like our bodies have the ability to heal, right? And what we need to do is we need to figure out how to support it, and each of us is slightly different. So like you said, like your mom's with the cancer or whatever it may be, it may not have even been cancer, right? She just needed a different type of support to actually recover and heal it. I don't want to say heal because the stuff that we do, we don't heal. We're supporting people to their recovery for wellness, right? But that's really what Eastern medicine, holistic medicine is looking at the symptoms, figuring out what caused the symptoms upstream, and then figuring out how to support the body to get back into homeostasis. Because when we're at homeostasis, everything's just hunky-dory and it'll work, right? But most of the time, we're just so elevated in one area, and we're concentrating in that area because someone tells you to, you're just going to stay there. And then that mindset that, oh, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. Guess what? That actually elevates it to be worse too. Right. So, I don't want to say I just always think positivity is thoughts, but there is a little bit to that. Right. Because everything happens for a reason. And if you're always thinking, well, it's going to be cancer, it's going to be cancer, guess what? It's going to be cancer. Because you manifested it, right? You literally manifested that it's going to be cancer. And what people don't understand is we got cancer in our body all the time, 24/7. It's in our body,
Mhm.
right? So depending if you're going to get cancer or not is if you're giving that control away for the cancer to take over your body, right? And that's where the different support becomes very important, right? And I just wanted to share one thing from the first segment. Christy, you're talking about you love swimming. Some people love jogging, like Amanda says. And what I tell you girls, you're gonna hate what I say I love doing. Um, I love doing core exercises like planks and stuff, right? And all my clients they hate me for it, but it's because my back was such a big problem for so long. The only way I can keep, myself strong is by keeping a strong core,
Mhm.
right? So for me, it's like I know I need to keep a strong core to keep my back strong, right? Like that's my motivation for longevity, for healing. But for all 25 years when I was in the Western medicine, they said, I got a pill for that. You got pain here, I got a pill for that, right? They never figured out, well, I got a weak back because it got damaged. What do we do about it? you
Right.
know so that's why each person's support is going to be slightly different.
Yes. And there's so many things out there that help. Chiropractic, even in the world of chiropractic, there are a whole bunch of different kinds of chiropractic. And for me, when I was 16, I actually broke my back.
Mhm.
And for me, Nuka chiropractic is the only thing that really keeps me level because of the way it tweaked out my body. It's
Mhm.
the only thing that I say puts my head back on straight. And but for someone else, like my mom goes to a different kind of chiropractor with the torque release, that
Mhm.
little tool thing. She loves it. It works for her.
Mhm.
So and everybody's different, and you find what works. So we're going to take a quick break, everybody, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about lots of things that we can start thinking about that we can do to help ourselves right now in our own lives. Stay tuned.
She looks like she has it all together, but inside, she's exhausted, disconnected, and asking, is this really it? I'm Amanda Beth. I help visionary women shift from burnout to embodiment, from survival mode to soulful success. Through intuitive healing and aligned strategy, I guide them back to their power so they can lead with clarity, confidence, and calm.
I was floored at how effective and powerful and insightful everything was in this journey. She is amazing, and you should absolutely do it.
This isn't about pushing harder. This is about rising with purpose, prosperity, and peace.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Chronically Healthy Life show. Let's talk about some tips. I mean, uh, for example, well, we all know the usual things like get out in nature, breathe, have a walk, or take a little time to meditate each day. Simple things like that make a huge difference. But let's elevate it up a little bit. Like from there. Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna tell you guys a secret that I something I've been doing that I kept secret that I so I've gone around and around with Barefoot Learning Club on how I'm going to do it. And this is in the realm of like changing my financial life with having a business. And I was going for the academics and it just never felt right, never worked. And now I've changed it to creativity. So everything that I'm going to do with it now is all about supporting kids with creative off off screen and on screen because it's a reality that we have computers in our lives now.
Mhm.
But instead of sitting passively playing video games, watching TV or whatever, it's actively creating things. And I'm, including art, music, movies, books, all kinds of stuff at the levels because I'm a 30-year veteran teacher, so at the levels up there. And I am having the best time. I have built out 2 months already. My first 2 months are like built out. And I just like keep going. And I have never felt this way before. I've always felt like, oh, I have to work on it. And then I get pooped out after 15 minutes. So when we were talking about that setting an intent,
Mhm.
the intention, my intention is I want to have a sustainable business for me in the sense of it's online, it's easy for me to maintain, it's fun and exciting, but it's also doing something really positive out in the world. And I know kids and I know what they're missing because I've seen it firsthand. So this makes me feel really good and uplifted. And then the ripples, I don't even know what the ripples are going to be yet because I just threw the pebble into the but just what I know of you two off the top of my head. Andy, you started this Chronically Healthy Life show. We went 4 years ago, right? Are we in our
Yeah, it's almost 4.5 years now.
yeah, so you've obviously had the motivation to keep it going. So talk about how you sustain your
Yeah,
vision.
it's funny because I look back 4.5 years ago, and the Chronically Healthy Life show is really me and Minna's way of giving back to the community, right? Some people like going to the soup kitchen, some people like doing volunteer work, and that's great. If that's what you want to do, perfect. But for me, it's like if I'm going to be giving back, I want to be giving back doing something I'm passionate about, something that I can be a part of, something that I can learn to be a better person while doing it too, right? So when we came up with the idea with the Chronically Healthy Life and having guests to uplift people in different areas of life, it was like this is something that we need as individuals too, because at any one time things could be going smoothly, and like I said, things shit happens, right? And sometimes you can't get out of the funk yourself, right? And you really do need someone to get you out of that funk. And it's like, well, it's a relationship problem. Well, my brain coach is not going to help me with my relationship problem, right? Now it's not like I have this Rolodex, and for all those youngsters out there, if you don't know what a Rolodex is, it's like your digital contact book in your phone, right? But back in the day, Rolodex is little cards of papers, not even cards. You just write down their name, and now I got this whole network that I built up in these last 4.5 years of people that specialize in different areas. And even though some people say, "Oh, we're brain specialists," but they are brain specialists for this specific condition, right? I have a lot of energy work persons. Like Amanda is like my go-to. She's like my mentor. She always helps me get on my funk, and she does energy work different from a lot of the other people that I know, right? And I think that's really important because having that intuition and that intent to look for help when we need it is important, because back in the day, I didn't I need the help, but my dad always told me, don't show your weakness, don't ever look for help, figure it out yourself. That was the shittiest advice I got, and listening to it for so long, you know, I'm hoping that I can inspire people. Is that like, yeah, take what's useful, and whatever isn't, throw it out, because not everything that your parents or your coaches give you is useful. Even like the coaches that I work with, if they're telling me something, well, Andy, blah 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 blah, and I was like, wow, that was amazing. But if something doesn't work for you, It's all right, and they know it. They're not going to expect you to do anything. It's like if I'm telling you to do a workout, I'm not expecting you to do it 100%. We'll modify things because everyone is at a different level.
Mhm. Definitely, definitely. And Amanda, I'm sure you experienced that too, energy healing. And do you want to share your exciting news about what you're doing this weekend?
Oh, so yeah, this weekend I'm going to be at the Iowa State Fairgrounds for the Iowa Metaphysical Fair, and the theme this year is the Fire Within. And the cool thing, this is just my rough draft, but the companion reflection guide is here
Wow.
to go with the new book that just released in March. So those will be available this weekend at the show, where I will be doing energetic reads, and I do the reads to let you know where you are in this space and time, how you can change up some things. We can heal things in the minute, but let you leave with a plan of getting your ducks in a row, and how you're going, give you a strategy, what to work on next, instead of necessarily buying all the cards and the stones and still sitting there reading every 17 magazine quiz and checking the box. So that's what I'm doing this weekend. But I think that tuning out is so important, that you take the time to really tune out, get away from. We
Mhm.
talk about going for a walk in nature, we talk about meditating, and meditating is not some funky little pose on a
Mhm.
silly little pillow. That works for some people.
I used to do
For a
that.
lot of us,
I'm guilty.
a lot of us that doesn't work. For me, I love adult coloring books, crochet. I do other things, and I have found some really awesome music that works for my ADD brain, and it's just amazing. So find what you can do to restore your balance. Of course, I also offer flotation, which is something that, if you're not in a 2-hour radius, I go find a float center near you, because floating allows that water factor, which is very resetting for me as well as nature, but it allows your brain that rest. And
Mhm.
so figuring out what you need to do, because our brains are not meant for all this checking. What is the stat? People they're checking their cell phone, what, every 29 or 60 seconds? I mean,
Mhm.
you're checking your phone all these times. And when we used to wear wristwatches, you'd look at your watch, but you never noticed what time it was. It was just that habit. Well, now people pick up their phones all the time. And from the time you set your phone down to the time you refocus is 29 seconds.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So you're taking all these breaks, and there's just, you gotta quiet the chatter. The
yeah.
chatter in your immediate environment, the chatter of the input from all the technology, um, and then the chatter within yourself, to allow yourself that still point, so that you can make good decisions and you can rebuild and listen to your body. What does your body need? We talk about pain. When you have a headache, do you just pop an aspirin, or do you go, gosh, why do I have a headache?
Mhm.
When you're feeling sad and you realize you felt sad for 3 days in a row, do you look at why you felt sad? I guarantee you that if you had strep throat, you'd be looking at every person you've been at and finding out where that strep throat came from. But we
Mhm.
don't do that about our headache,
Mhm.
or do you have a headache because you're dehydrated? Do you have a
Mm,
headache because maybe you need to turn down your car radio?
Mhm.
Are you overheated? What are the things that are going on? What happened the last time you had a headache? Are you sad? Are you happy? Where's your joy coming from?
Mhm.
How do you build more joy? Look at those things, and bring more of those things into your life, the things that make you feel good.
Mhm.
And look at, when you have a headache, there is a reason your body is yelling, whoa, stop, figure something out. When there's pain, that your body's saying, it's time to stop, it's time to look at things.
yeah.
And yes, you may end up taking a remedy, a medication, and over the counter, you may end up addressing it. But if you don't find out what's underneath it, you're going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I love flotation because doing float therapy, it helps so many body systems, mentally, physically, spiritually. It's just amazing. It hits all of them.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. Well, what my final thought for today is I think that one of the most critical things that we can do for ourselves is acknowledge that we are, in fact, sovereign human beings.
Mhm.
We have power. We give it away, but we can choose to not do that anymore and
Mhm.
take it back and to live in our power. We have the right to say no to things we don't want to do. We have the right to say yes to things we do want to do.
Mhm.
We have the right to choose to make changes because something's not working. We have the right to notice we have a headache and stop and pause and say, "Wait a minute, you know what? I'm about ready to pass out. I'm so tired. I need a break." Whatever it is, we are sovereign over our lives. And don't let anyone ever tell you that you have to do what they want you to do, because otherwise they're not going to be happy, or they're going to have a problem, or whatever stupid garbage they're dumping on you. Whether it's coming from a person in your life, or whether it's coming from the television or from any other source. We're sovereign, we're powerful, and we have the right to be happy. And that's, I think, what the bottom line is here. We all want to be happy, and we create happiness in our lives by doing these things and having ride or die friends.
yeah, have your circle that's important. And
Yeah,
as you change and as you grow and you do things differently, your circle may change.
right.
You may
And
have, Andy has built a whole network. I've built a whole network. The people that you rely on and knowing who those people are. And not everyone is on this trip for the long haul for you.
right. So, Andy, how can people find you in the world?
Yeah, I guess the best way is at chronicallyhealthylife.com. It's not just my TV show, it's really, my whole business model, my passion, and everything. One of the things is that it's like what you said in the very beginning. It's like I want to inspire people to take charge of their life, right? Don't like you said, don't give that control away. The control is yours.
Mhm.
But I think the main thing is, find a reason why you do what you do. Because sometimes it may not be your own reason. It might be someone that, that you love, that you work for, or whatever it may be, right? I think it's very important because your life is like a ripple. It affects so many people around you. Don't think you're just that one stone that it doesn't affect everyone else. So where you are in life, regardless of which part of health you're in, find a reason to make changes because you have that control.
Right. And Andy, can't you find all of our coaches on Chronically Healthy Chronic Health Collective, or
Yes, you'll be able to find all the coaches on Chronic Health Collective. What's the best way to find you, though, Christy?
you can find me at barefootlearningclub.com or at narcdetoxclub.com. I've got both of them rolling, and they, yeah, I'm findable. I'm uh, YouTube. The fun thing with Barefoot Learning Club is that YouTube. I'm gonna be posting my first videos that are really fun and for the kids this weekend. So
Love it. And Amanda, quickly, what's the best way for people to find you?
AmandaBethHealing.com or IowaSaltPod.com.
Easy peasy, easy peasy. Well, join us here every Friday at 7 p.m. CST on E360TV. .com on the Vitality TV network, or you can watch past episodes at YouTube at Chronically Healthy Life. And of course, we'd love you to swing by, Chronically Healthy Life for a longevity consult or trial or new skincare line, Coolness at coolness.com. Until then, stay vibrant, stay fierce, and stay ridiculously, unapologetically, chronically healthy.